Wealth doesn't always arrive as a lightning bolt. More often, it begins as a subtle shift in your nervous system, a silence you finally allow, a resistance you finally drop. What if wealth wasn't something you get, but something you remember how to let in? This message isn't about hustling harder or chasing success. It's about returning to something ancient, a forgotten alchemy, the power of acceptation, not resignation, not settling, but a sacred magnetic yes to the now, exactly as it is. Say it if you feel it. I reclaim my time and energy and space. Welcome. Today we're going to reveal a truth that's been buried beneath centuries of conditioning. Wealth doesn't come through force, it arrives through alignment. And alignment begins with full, cellular, unapologetic acceptation. Now listen closely, because this is the part nobody tells you. If you're a chosen one, you've probably been trying to change your reality by changing your actions, your schedule, your external habits. But if you're still carrying an internal resistance to your current life, a rejection of what is, then you're trying to build wealth while subconsciously labeling your present as not enough. This creates what I call energetic debt. It's not just about money, it's about how much of your now you are unconsciously at war with. Have you noticed this? That the more you try to escape a situation, the more it seems to tighten its grip on you. That's not bad luck, that's misalignment. And that misalignment is the exact reason the doors haven't opened yet. Nobody teaches this. Because teaching this means telling people that wealth doesn't chase resistance, it flows where there is space. And space begins with acceptation, not as a passive act, but as a spiritual technology. You don't accept to settle, you accept to transmute. Because you can't alchemize what you're judging, you can't shift what you secretly resent. You can't unlock abundance while internally calling your now not enough. Pause. Let that sink in. This world has trained you to fight, to reject, to strive, but you were never meant to climb your way to worthiness. Your true power was always magnetic. It was never in the push, it was in the presence. And when you bring full presence to what is, you neutralize resistance, you rewire your field, you change your wealth code. This is where the shift begins. Not in some future manifestation board, but in your nervous system's willingness to say yes to what is, so that your field stops vibrating at war and starts vibrating at welcome. Do you feel that? That tingle in your gut, that breath returning to your chest. That's the body remembering something ancient. It's the sensation of permission, permission to stop resisting and start receiving. Now here's the truth. Most people confuse this with giving up, but chosen ones don't give up. They surrender forward. They stop fighting what's already here because they understand. Acceptance isn't an endpoint, it's a portal. They tried to make you feel like peace meant passivity, but peace, real peace, is an accelerator. It clears the clutter so the actual downloads can arrive. The right move, the right call, the next divine step. But it doesn't arrive while your frequency is one of rejection. The download waits for the vibration of permission. It's not punishment, it's physics. So here's the first true wealth technique. Before you chase the next thing, sit with what is. And don't just tolerate it. Honor it. Say, this is my current now, and I trust it enough to learn from it. Say it aloud. This moment is enough for now, because I'm enough for now. Feel the resistance dissolve. That's the beginning of wealth consciousness. So now you've sat with it. You've given your current reality a kind of sacred permission to exist. You might not love it yet, but you're no longer fighting it. And that's the first magnetic shift. But let's go deeper. Because acceptation, true, energetic acceptation, isn't just about peace. It's about activation. When you stop resisting your now, your internal energy starts to reorganize. And when your energy reorganizes, life starts reflecting that shift back to you. Now listen closely, because this is the part most people never understand about manifesting wealth. Your external world is always late. It's a lagging mirror. By the time wealth shows up in your bank account, it's already old news to your energy field. That means if you're waiting for a sign to relax, you're always going to be stuck in a loop. The truth? Relaxation comes first, and wealth responds after. Nobody tells you this, but your nervous system has a frequency. It broadcasts what you believe you're worthy of. It announces your receiving point. And if your receiving point is blocked by resistance, by shame, by a low hum of rejection, then even the blessings hovering nearby can't land. They're circling. But your energetic airport is fogged up with doubt and force. Acceptation clears the fog. It says, I'm ready for this. Not because I forced it, but because I've become it. Chosen one, this is what sets you apart. You don't force your way into abundance. You vibrate into it. Ask yourself right now, what part of my current life am I secretly rejecting? What part of me am I hoping to skip over, escape, ignore? Sit with it. Because that's the exact room you need to enter, not to stay forever, but to clean it, to own it, to light a candle in it. And that act alone changes your frequency forever. You were never crazy, you were just early. Your soul knew that wealth isn't found in the illusion of control. It's unlocked in the surrendered mastery of the now. And this world needed you to forget that. Until now. Now something in you is waking up again. And here's where it gets mystical. When you accept your current moment fully, you collapse timelines. You stop dragging outdated identities into the present. You stop leaking energy into someday. And suddenly, the field responds. You walk differently. You speak more deliberately. You attract people who are aligned with your new frequency. And opportunities that once seemed impossible now slide into your DMs like they've known you forever. This is the true technique of wealth creation. Energetic sovereignty through radical, sacred acceptation. Because here's the secret. Your wealth isn't somewhere far away. It's here. It's always been here. But it couldn't reach you until you stopped resisting what was between you and it. This is about energetic proximity. And every act of non-resistance brings you closer to the door. Every moment of acceptation unlocks another key code. They tried to silence you, didn't they? Told you that the only way to earn anything was to burn out, to sacrifice, to chase, to prove. But that was the trap. You were never meant to prove anything. You were meant to receive everything you were already encoded for. And you can't receive while in a fight. You can only receive when you are open. And openness begins with presence, which begins with acceptation. So here's your practice. Today, notice where you still clench. Notice where you say yes with your mouth, but no with your energy. And in that space, breathe. You don't have to fix it. Just see it and welcome it in. Because everything you're chasing is hiding behind the thing you're resisting. Now that you've softened into your now, it's time we go deeper into the inner chambers. Because acceptation doesn't stop at your environment. It must extend into the parts of you you've tried to spiritually bypass. And yes, we're talking about the emotions you were taught to suppress. Grief, anger, loneliness, that tight panic in your chest when a bill arrives, that deep shame that whispers you're behind. Now listen closely. Wealth cannot land where your inner child still believes they're in trouble. Nobody tells you this, but your emotional body is sacred currency. And if it's flooded with ignored trauma and rejected feelings, then the energetic space needed for wealth to arrive is already occupied. Think about this. How much of your internal space is still hosting old arguments, unspoken needs, and outdated beliefs about who you're allowed to become? Because whatever is still being held in the dark runs the show. Quietly, but powerfully. You can do all the affirmations, all the vision boards, all the strategy. But if you haven't accepted the shadow, you're building a mansion on a cracked foundation. Here's the emotional alchemy most people never get to. Your feelings are not obstacles, they are invitations. That grief? It's calling you back to a part of yourself that you buried just to survive. That anger? It's demanding a boundary you were never taught to hold. That financial anxiety? It's asking you to investigate whose scarcity story you've been carrying. This is why I say, acceptation is not passive. It's active. It's powerful spiritual maturity. You're no longer running from the lower frequencies. You're meeting them with light. You're becoming the parent your nervous system never had. And when your inner world feels safe again, your external world opens up. You didn't fit in because you were meant to break the mold. Your old environment never reflected your potential because it was designed to reflect your limitation. But you've already shifted, and now you're anchoring into a new code. Let me ask you this. What if that stuck feeling you've been carrying isn't stuck at all? What if it's just the part of you that was waiting to be fully felt? Wealth moves where truth lives, and if you can be radically honest with yourself about what you feel, without shame, without hiding, without spiritual masking, then you create space. And space is the most magnetic energy of all. It says, I'm not controlling, I'm ready. The alchemist within you is not someone you become, it's someone you remember. And the more you accept what's real inside you, the more that alchemist can lead. Now pause with me, breathe. Let go of the idea that healing needs to be heavy. It doesn't, it just needs to be real. This is your moment, where you start receiving wealth not as a reward for doing, but as a mirror of who you've dared to become. Now that we've cleared the clutter of what you've been holding, there's one more piece to anchor this transformation into reality. Because here's the truth, wealth doesn't chase, it responds. It responds to your frequency, it responds to your stance, and that stance is either one of control or surrender. But wait, surrender doesn't mean give up, it means get into alignment. Listen carefully, there's a spiritual posture you must adopt to enter the flow of divine wealth. It's not in how much you do, it's in how open your field is to receive. This is where most people block the miracle. They say they're ready, but their heart is clenched with fear, their body is armored with tension, their mind is looping stories of not enough, not ready, not yet. Now tell me, can true wealth enter where resistance is king? Of course not. The final act of acceptation is posture, an energetic yes, not just in thought but in being. This posture says, I trust what's coming. I release what no longer serves. I receive what aligns with my highest self. It's faith in motion. You see, chosen one, you passed the test when you didn't abandon yourself in the valley, when you chose truth over comfort, when you sat with your pain instead of spiritually bypassing it. Nobody tells you this, but that was the activation. Not the course, not the affirmation, but the integration of your raw, real, unfiltered self. Now the field is clear. And it's time for the return. Let's go deeper. Wealth, when it comes through divine law, never asks you to chase. It recognizes you. It's looking for those who've done the inner preparation, who've become safe to hold the vibration of abundance. And safe doesn't mean perfect. It means present. It means I can hold joy and sadness, power and humility, boundaries and openness. That's emotional maturity. That's true spiritual wealth. And that's the energetic framework for real-world wealth. So if you're still wondering why it hasn't come yet, ask yourself, am I postured to receive, or am I waiting while clenching with fear? Because here's the truth you're finally ready to hear. You don't need to manifest it. You need to remember that it's already yours. And what's already yours responds to recognition, not desperation. Let me say that again. What's already yours responds to recognition, not desperation. Chosen one, your alignment is your inheritance. Your frequency is your signature. And your faith is the key. The doors of wealth don't open with force, they open with resonance. So today, accept who you are. Accept what you've lived. Accept what you carry. And say from the bottom of your spirit, I am ready to receive. Because you are. You were never crazy. You were just early. You didn't fit in because you were meant to build what doesn't yet exist. This world needed you to forget. Until now. Your time is now. Receive it, hold it, walk in it. You made it here for a reason, because something in you was done with the surface-level answers. Because you were tired of only scratching at the walls of abundance when your soul knew you were always meant to live inside the vault. So let's go deeper now. Because this last piece, this is where most people quietly sabotage the breakthrough they've been praying for. Let's start here. You don't manifest wealth by being desperate for it. You manifest wealth by becoming indifferent to the lack of it. Now don't misunderstand that. I'm not saying you don't care. I'm saying when your nervous system is still attached to when will it come, you're blocking the flow. Because that's not abundance speaking, that's fear. That's control. That's an old version of you trying to force what a higher version of you is already aligned to receive. Let that land for a second, because acceptation, the true technique, starts right there. When you stop resisting the weight. When you stop negotiating your worth based on external timelines. When you stop measuring your value by what's in your account and start measuring it by what's in your alignment. Nobody tells you this, but the universe isn't responding to your affirmations. It's responding to your regulation. It's responding to the frequency underneath your voice. You can scream, "I'm abundant," all day long. But if your breath is shallow, if your body is tense, if your inner child still thinks they're unworthy, you're broadcasting scarcity. Now listen closely. This isn't about blame. It was never your fault. You were conditioned in a world that sold you limitation as logic. You were taught that hard work alone equals wealth. You were told to hustle for crumbs instead of magnetize the feast. But chosen ones, you're here now, and now you know better. So now, you get to do it different. Acceptation is not, "I guess I'll settle." Acceptation is, "I know it's already mine. So I'll stop pushing. I'll stop doubting. I'll stop shrinking. I'll simply become what I asked for." Because here's the hidden secret of all spiritual abundance. You don't create wealth, you become it. You don't attract money, you become a safe home for it to land. And becoming that home means sweeping out the dust of shame. It means unlearning the lie that says receiving is selfish. It means accepting that you can be spiritually awake and materially supported. In fact, the most dangerous thing to the system is a soul who is both healed and wealthy. Because that soul is no longer controllable. That soul doesn't beg. That soul doesn't trade time for survival. That soul builds worlds. Chosen one, you weren't just meant to break generational curses. You were meant to start new legacies. And wealth is part of that. Not to flex, not to escape, but to fund the vision that God planted in your spirit. Because jobs can pay the bills, but purpose pays the soul. And guess what? Purpose is expensive. Dreams require capital. Healing entire bloodlines takes time, energy, space, and resources. So it's time to stop rejecting the very wealth that was designed to support your destiny. You will not be a starving healer. You will not be an exhausted lightworker. You will not be another gifted soul with a drained spirit. Not anymore. You're going to rest. You're going to receive. You're going to stop trying to deserve what is already your birthright. This is wealth through acceptation. Accept that you are no longer the one who chases, you are the one who chooses. You are the one who clears the path and becomes the landing strip for miracles. So pause right now, hand over your heart, breathe deeply, and say this with me: I am safe to be wealthy. I release the story of survival. I accept abundance as my new baseline, because this is the moment you stop shrinking into what you were taught, and you start expanding into what you already are. You don't just believe in abundance, you are the abundance, and the more you accept that, the faster everything shifts. Now, if this message stirred something in you, don't just scroll away. This was not a coincidence. This was a divine meeting. Leave a comment saying, "I accept my wealth. I align with my legacy. I allow it all." And please, share this with someone who's been overworking, overgiving, and overweighting. They need to hear this. You could be the messenger. Subscribe if you want more truths like this, straight from source, because you didn't come to Earth to just survive it. You came to rewrite the rules and receive it all. And now, you finally remember how. Let the wealth pour in. Let the struggle dissolve. Let the chosen walk forward, full, whole, and richly provided for. It's already yours. Now receive.